Alright guys, so this week we are working on a snout to tail assessment on our dogs. So this is Leela, she's going to help me demonstrate. The first thing we want to check is, of course, their snout. We want to check their nose, make sure it's nice and wet, make sure it's not cracked and dry. Also looking to make sure there's no runny discharge. The next thing we want to check is the snout area, gently massaging, checking for bumps, lumps, something that shouldn't be there. We're also going to check her teeth and her gums. So we're going to open up her mouth here, make sure her gums are a nice pink color. I can even check the other side, press them, make sure that pigment comes back real quickly. Making sure her teeth aren't cracked, they're not chipped. Do they need to be cleaned? The next thing we're going to check is her breath. So I'm going to open up her mouth. If your dog doesn't like their mouth to be opened, you can stick your thumb in there, open it right up, smell their breath. Now, most dogs normally have some bad breath, but you're going to know, does my dog's breath smell infectious? Does it smell worse than normal? Because they could have an abscessed tooth or something that needs to be checked out by their vet. Now I'm going to go and check her face. I'm going to check her eyes. I'm going to check for movement. Make sure the white areas are nice and white. Make sure they're not red or yellow. Track movement in both her eyes. And I'm going to move up to the crown. Again, now I'm checking for bumps and lumps, tenderness. Is this bothering her? Is she wincing or crying? Because then I'm going to rotate over to her ears. I'm going to rub the base of her ears. I'm going to open them up, make sure they're clean. And then here's the key part, I'm going to smell her ears. What you're looking for is a yeast smell, something out of the ordinary, because you do not want a yeast smell coming out of their ears. Even allergies can cause something as simple as a yeast infection in their ears. And that's something that, of course, your vet would need to check out for you. Come. The next thing I'm going to do is run my hand down the spine of my dog. Again, I'm just gently massaging, checking for tenderness, soreness, bumps and lumps. I'm going to check her ribs. Doesn't matter her weight. Should be able to check her ribs on both sides. Then I'm going to check her belly. Make sure it's not hard or rigid, just kind of lightly press. If it is hard, might have a little bit of an upset stomach. I'm going to check her chest. Does she have any bumps or lumps on her chest? Good girl, Leela. So the next part I'm going to check, I'm going to ask her to sit. Sit, because it normally helps. I'm going to check her legs. So I'm going to lift. Easy. I'm going to gently rotate front to back. And then I'm going to check her claws. Make sure they don't need to be trimmed. Make sure that they're not chipped or broken. Check in between her toes. Then I'm going to check her pads. Again, make sure her pads aren't torn. They're not cracked and dry. Then I'm going to rotate over and check the other front leg. Same thing. I'm checking between her toes. If your dog is struggling during any of this, that just means it's an area that needs to be worked on a little bit more with them if they don't like their feet touched or their legs touched. Now I'm going to move to her back legs. This is easiest if she's in a stand position, so I can place my hand on her belly, lift, ask her to stand. Now most dogs you're going to have to leave your hand there because they're going to try to sit back down because we're going to rotate her back legs. If they're stiff when you do this, just lightly jiggle, ask them to relax. You don't ever want to rotate a dog when they're stiff legs, but then again I'm going to check her claws between her toes and her pads. Then I'm going to rotate over to the other side. I might have to move my arm like I just did so I can rotate, check her pads, check her claws, and make sure she's good. Then I want to check her tail so I can move my hand down her tail, looking for any tenderness, breakage, something that's uncomfortable. Might even massage it a little bit at the base, wiggle it back and forth. Then I want to check her bottom area Does she have anything coming out of her anal glands? Does she have stuff stuck in her fur that needs to come out? That's normally an issue with your longer furred dogs, stuff getting stuck in their fur. And while we're doing this, general check over of her skin, her coat, how's she breathing? Is she excessively shedding? Yeah, you good girl. And that's it, guys. You checked her from her snout to her tail. Practice this weekly, and as the dogs get better, you might only have to practice monthly, but start with doing this as often as you can to get your dog used to being handled.